Mr. Lamar is away. He has an out-of-town business meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Kubicki?
Present.
Mr. Brokamp?
Present.
Okay, we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 13, 2024. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay, we go to open forum. Is anybody signing for open forum?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
Okay, then we move on to reports, and we go right back to you, Mrs. Egan,
Okay.
just like that,
Thank
for the
you.
fiscal officer's report with Ms. Egan.
Thank you. February was the middle month of the first quarter of our new year, and our general fund ending balance was $3,654,708, which is a decrease of 4% from December. The restricted fund balance was $5,474,144, which is a decrease of 6% from December. These funds combined total $9,128,852, which is a 5% decrease. The revenues for February were $1,500. Is that right? Yeah. And expenses, no. Okay, thank you. Expenses, $494,272. Year-to-date revenues, $537,953, and year-to-date expenses are $1,487,324. Our JEDZ business income tax revenue for the fourth quarter of 23, which we received in January of 24, I think I had this in my last report, was $288,267. And that reminds us that our residential levy revenues do not cover all the costs of our public services. The business revenues cover over 80% of our public services in Columbia Township. Hamilton County's first half property tax revenue settlements will occur in March, and our second half settlement will occur in September. And thanks to our success in attracting and supporting businesses, we can continue to provide our community with exceptional services at a lower cost to residents.
Thank you. Any questions about the report? Okay, then any questions about the road superintendent's report by Mr. Frazier? Okay, then we move on to the superintendent's, or excuse me, the administrator's report with Ms. Taylor. Sorry. I would say something, but I'm...
It's all good. All good.
I thought you were about to say Ms. Anderson. But that's
No.
All right, so I will leave it to the trustees later in the agenda to talk about our event, our pre-St. Patrick's Day event, which we held this past Saturday at 50 West. It was phenomenal, and we had a great turnout, fantastic music, great food, everything was great. Biggest turnout, this is the third year. The third year since I've been here that we've hosted the St. Patrick's Day event. We didn't, of course, 2020 because nothing happened in 2020, but we did it again, and it just was amazing. So I'll let you guys talk about that a little bit later. I went through a lot of this in detail last time, so I don't want to repeat that. Let me just give you a couple of updates. On the Madison Place Firehouse, page 5, we installed the aerial security camera that I mentioned that we're going to use for security throughout the construction project, and also we're going to begin showing the feed from the aerial camera online once we have that set up. So you'll see at the top of page, or at all of page 6, you'll see two of the pictures showing where no activity in front of the firehouse, and then you'll see as activity starts to occur with trucks coming and going. And once they move to exterior demo, it'll be really interesting to watch that. We mentioned last time that ODOT planned to close the Norwood lateral in 2 phases. That happened. That started Monday, yesterday. And we, again, encourage everyone to use your GPS. And we will monitor any impacts on any of our local roads. And as we discussed in detail, take action if there's something that is needed with the county engineer and also with the sheriff's office.
Can I ask a question? Which one is shut down first? Eastbound?
Eastbound.
Thank you.
And the thought is that probably the westbound closure will have more impact on us. So we'll see about that. Under parks, paths and roads, I wanted to share that we worked with Great Parks to apply to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for a Clean Ohio Trail grant. And we'll see if, I don't know what the time frame on it, but we'll see if that is awarded to Great Parks, but they reached out to us to help support them in that. And one of the things that I learned that I did not know before this application, I'll share this letter that Vice President Lamar and I put together, that Ohio ODNR has an interactive map online for what communities are considered having a high need for trails and pathways. And the area of Columbia Township along Worcester is on that, as well as a significant part of Madison Place neighborhood and Madisonville. And then as you go into a number of the older urban neighborhoods of Cincinnati. So it's a really interesting interactive map that shows where the investment should go from the state for investing in trails and paths, and it highlights us as one of those neighborhoods. So it was interesting to find that. I want to make sure I'm hitting everything. I think that's it on my report. As I said, we spent quite a bit of time on this last month.
Okay, I'm good. Any comments or questions? I think we'll throw some more commentary on the event and trustees report, so we'll leave this go for the moment. Then we move on. Any questions about Mr. Montgomery's economic development quarterly report?
He should be in or have a report in April.
Okay. Then we move on to the police report with the legendary Lieutenant Neighbor.
Got a few things I wanted to talk about this month. I don't know if I've mentioned in the past that the Cincinnati Rotary Club, Christ Hospital, and the Sheriff's Department and the County Commissioners all came up with a way to place AED devices in all of the cruisers throughout the whole entire county. If I haven't said it in the past, I just want to bring that up. So in addition to your fire department needs, if someone has a cardiac event, we will have an AED in every car. Second thing is a reminder about the DEA store take back on April 27th from 10 to 2 at our District 4 substation on Montgomery Road, 6943 Montgomery Road. Our speed enforcement is, as I've said in the past couple of months, we've been working on that. We basically tripled our numbers as far as stops of vehicles. Basically 2/3 of those stops are warnings and the restaurant citations.
And just curious, what's the logic in speeding those up? I mean, just from the residents' commentary, or is it that time of year, or what's your logic?
Well, I've noticed a drastic increase in serious fatality crashes, and all of them can be curtailed by speed enforcement. So
In the region.
In the region.
Not, okay.
Not specifically
We cannot have
Columbia
fatalities
Township,
in
but
Columbia
it's
Township.
just, it's for
Thank you for
district-wide. Those are the numbers for district-wide.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to get ahead of the game and try to remind everybody to slow down, especially we got the spring months coming up, we've got children out playing. We need to be mindful of our children. To the State Route 562 Norwood Lateral, we've been monitoring that traffic really well between ODOT, our traffic unit, me. We've been in great communication, fantastic communication. And I've been monitoring that really closely. As far as the eastbound traffic, you're right, it barely impacted the traffic. A little bit more so in the afternoons, not so much in the mornings. So that's what's going on there. And of course, a reminder to everybody that thefts do increase usually in the springtime when people are out able to stay up all night long and look at cars. So keep your things in your safe.
What's up?
This time of year is pretty common for the teenagers who go out and break into cars and things like that. So please make sure you don't have things out visible in your car, keep your cars locked, and don't leave your keys in your car. And 2 points of interest. Just recently, our night shift sergeant, Eric Faffel, has been promoted. Effective tomorrow, he will be promoted to the rank of lieutenant, so he'll be leaving us. So we'll be getting a new sergeant on night shift. And Howard Hoshide is another officer in our area here. Howard's been working actually specifically for Columbia Township for almost the last 25 years and is being promoted to the rank of corporal. So congratulations to both of them. That's all I have to report.
Congratulations.
How do you spell Howard's last name?
HOCHSCHEID. And Sergeant, soon to be Lieutenant Faffel, it's Eric, ERIK, PFAFFL.
Thank you.
Any questions about the police report? Okay, we move on to the Little Miami and the Deer Park Fire District report, which is usually presented by Mr. Lamar. So I assume we'll just vacate that for the time being. And we move on to trustees' reports. Mr. Brokamp, anything to say or report?
Only some comments. I don't have a full report, but just some observations over the last month or so. Just getting around into the neighborhood and talking with people about the level of service and the level of them being pleased with the services around the police, the street maintenance, just the general feel in the neighborhood. And when David and I were speaking before the meeting a little bit about how do we get the word out about events? And I want to say a few words about the event that we had at 50 West, but I think it's just a matter of getting out and speaking to people, and that's something that we're really lacking right now because people are kind of honed into their phones and social media and that sort of thing, and it's a little bit overload sometimes, when we try to advertise events in that way, because everybody's doing that. But what people aren't doing enough of is interacting person to person out in the community, and you really get a great feel for what people want and what their interests are, and just inviting them along. And I think that that event at 50 West, and I've been going to a few of them over the years, and I thought it was the best one that I had been to. It was just really a good feel. Everyone was enjoying themselves. 50 West, the 50 West family that provides the space and everything for us, just a really great group of people, and I just thought it was well done. The Prodigals, by the way, the band was phenomenal. I mean, just really outstanding. So congratulations to everybody on a great event.
I would echo that, and everybody that went, certainly, it was a great event. We always are somewhat weather dependent, the cool weather, and to your point of good outdoor to door, I think kind of a little bit of the hiccup of really being able to promote and go door to door is just because of the weather. But that's a fantastic event, fantastic band. Everybody that went and was able to attend and could go, did go, loved it. Didn't stay there till the bitter end, loving the band, loving everything. Yeah. We've perfected how to throw an event, and to your point is how do we continue to try to draw bigger regional crowds would be the only other goal. But it's a fantastic event, and as I say to everybody involved, you hope 10 years from now to be the biggest event in the area, because once people do go and get engaged, and we saw a lot of people from Ridgewood, ironically, and they had a big crowd of people that came in, and I think they keep building and saying this is a worthwhile event to come to. So that's great. And again, I also want to thank everybody, Melissa, Dustin, Rob, everybody in the field, Lauren, and of course Chandra for, again, perfecting and doing a great job at the event. And obviously Brian and Steve as well for supporting it and everything else. So great event. We just need to work on what can we do to keep getting on our foghorn and talking about it and find creative ways to get the word out, because just love to continue to see the momentum build, and the Slatteries are always great too, so that's all I have to say. But fantastic event, always well attended, and the people that come are excited and continue to repeat coming. We just need to continue to find out ways that we can keep beating the drum that this is it, and this is it, and pray for good weather, so.
Well, and we don't have local bands at our signature events, and one of the band members afterwards came up to me and was talking about, they had previously, so they're from New York City, they had previously played at the House of Blues in Cleveland, and for St. Patrick's Day, because that was we always do a pre-St. Patrick's Day. For St. Patrick's Day, they are flying to Miami and doing an early evening concert, and then they are flying to New York City to do a midnight Madison Square Gardens
Oh, my goodness.
event in New York City.
These guys are
So
big.
we had them here in Columbia Township last year, and as we do in our first Saturday of August event, we always bring in a national tribute act, and they tell us the same stories. We were just here, we're now flying here, and that's what we're doing. We're doing something different because we want the neighborhoods in Columbia Township and our neighboring communities to come here and enjoy the experience and see our neighborhoods, see our business districts, and see that we are doing something that others are not doing in terms of bringing bands in from far away who have basically a national audience.
Yeah, and I think since all of us, the elected officials, come from different areas, I mean, I need to just really get on my soapbox and really promote it in my neighborhood. You can do in your area, Caroline can do in hers, and Brian obviously in Madison Place, just to continue to draw a crowd, because I think the people that do come love it, and I think anybody that said, it's a little cold out, I'm not sure, I think they missed a good time. And that's
We
what,
had
and I want
heaters.
to see more of those people get
Yeah.
out. My goal to have everybody in the community come and go, wow, this is pretty amazing. That's it. So that said, we move on to any questions about the communications? Okay, then let's move on to the motions. So we're going to hand it right over to you, Melissa, since you're so good at this rule following.
So, yeah, it comes in handy when the auditors swing around. So I have two motions that I'm asking of the board this evening. One is required by the Hamilton County Auditor, or it's actually the State of Ohio Auditor. So we previously on our business credit cards, there was a credit card structure that provided travel rewards. Well, we don't travel, and we certainly don't, employees don't travel on earnings from business credit cards, so that we convert those into cash and then deposit them in the general fund. And so each year, we ask the trustees to approve, to recognize that we are taking those points, converting them to cash, and then depositing them to general fund. And then now those credit cards, that set of credit cards doesn't offer the travel rewards anymore, which is actually good for us, but I think we get a better rate for it. So I'm asking one of the trustees to make a motion as identified and then vote.
I make a motion that we transfer the money, $688, to the general fund from the credit card. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay.
The second motion for this evening is actually brought to us by Vice President Lamar, who is on a work trip out of state, as Ms. Heekin just mentioned. He has someone in the Madison Place neighborhood that has purchased a home and would like to add a second story to it. The home has long been neglected and really needs some significant investment, and has found someone to come in and do that. And because the entire neighborhood of Madison Place was actually built before zoning, all of the lots and all of the homes, except for the newly built ones, are considered by Hamilton County zoning as non-conforming. So anytime someone comes in to do a structural modification, they have to get a zoning variance. And so I provided a copy of a letter that we would send to the zoning commission, showing that our support for new investment in that neighborhood. And the second story addition is going only out as far as the existing front porch extends so that there's not any impacts on setbacks. So just need a motion that you would approve the support letter to the zoning commission.
I
for
make a
that.
motion, we approve the support letter to the zoning commission. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay, now we move on to resolutions.
So we do not have to have a supplemental resolution. We always keep it on the agenda in the event that we do need to add it early in the year, because we typically are most funded early in the year. We oftentimes will skip that, so that's a skip. I'm going to go ahead to our 3 resolutions. They're all first readings and dispense with the second readings. The first resolution is Resolution 2404, certifying violation abatement expenses at 6804 Stewart Road, owned by Joan L. Bickett of 6804 Stewart Road, Cincinnati, Ohio 45236, to the county auditor for assessment and dispensing with the second reading. So as part of our emphasis on our property maintenance code, we have several chronic properties that the owners are unable, or whatever their circumstances are, unwilling to maintain them at a minimum standard to meet our code. Last year I brought before you and you approved in Resolution 2320 the home at 6804 Stewart Road, which is actually vacant. The former owner lives elsewhere and does not respond to any of our notices. And so the house is overgrown, the house is falling apart. You authorized us to go in per Ohio Revised Code and secure the building, and also to basically have the yard, what I would call, from my southern roots, bush hogged, because you can't really mow it, it's grown so high. So over the years, this is the file on that property. Over the years, we have incurred close to $11,000 in expenses. And so we are going to file, with your permission tonight, we'll send a bill to the property owner, and the property owner can elect to pay the bill in full by law, or if they do not, then we file it with the Hamilton County Auditor, and they will put it on the property as an assessment due when the next bill comes out, and we'll recoup that money. So
Just to be clear, so when the next tax bill comes out?
So if we file it during the first half, this is the first half of tax year 2024. So when 2024 is paid next year, it will be in our settlement. So because property taxes are in arrear.
So if they have a $5,000 tax bill, you'd add another $11,000,
Correct.
so you owe $16,000
Correct.
due. And if they don't pay that, what's the cure?
Then it becomes a tax lien.
It turns into a tax lien, but we can't collect on it until the house is sold.
Well, at some point, so far, the property owner has paid all of the property bills, or somebody representing the property owner has paid all of the bills. So I would believe that they would pay this as well.
Okay, just curious.
There's a point at which, when you have tax liens, that the property can go into tax foreclosure.
Got it, okay.
So here's just a reminder copy of some of the pictures. There's 2 per page, front and back, for what you awarded last year. So what I'm looking for, we're following the Ohio Revised Code. This is not a Columbia process. This is an Ohio Revised Code process that has been upheld in zoning law, and we follow it to the T. And also, while I'm on this subject, I was able to get to this point because we were able to bring in a part-time temporary person to work with us and help, because I've been taking care of these things over the last couple of years, and so we identified someone who has a break in between a role, and Mr. Harry Hilbert, and he's been helping me the last few weeks get up to speed and start moving more of these things through the pipeline. So what I would be asking here, if there are any questions, let me answer those, and if not, then we will go to the approval.
I make a motion that we assess the property. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
And then I need a motion to dispense with the second
I
reading.
make a motion we dispense. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Brokamp?
All right, Resolution 2405, authorizing major repairs to a 1992 Case backhoe by Southeastern Equipment Company and dispensing with the second reading. So typically, I'm able to handle minor repairs to our public works equipment as the administrator. But with our 22-year-old Case backhoe went in for a little bit of a minor makeover, and when they took it apart, found a lot of parts that we don't have the ability to source because it's specialized equipment. And although we have Jamie Evanchek, who's a great mechanic on staff, this is a highly specialized rebuild, and so basically we had to take the backhoe apart and rebuild it. And we have to keep the backhoe in operating order all of the time because we use it in every single operation, from loading salt to working at the compost yard, so we use it all seasons. So the original estimate was less than 10 grand, and when they did the tear apart and rebuild, the invoice came in at $11,225.28, which requires trustee approval. So I'm asking that you do that.
I make a motion, we approve it. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
And I need a motion also to dispense with the second
I
reading.
make a motion, we dispense with the second reading. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay, I have one final. Our final resolution, 2406, designating the north side of Wind Road from Wetzel Avenue, continuing along to Windridge Drive, to be a no parking fire lane area and prohibiting parking therein and dispensing with the second reading. We did not realize that Wind had not had a resolution passed for no parking or signage erected. It always has been generally no parking on the north side. The road meets the minimum or the width standards for no parking whenever you have the fire hydrants, as you know, on a particular side of the road. And for the most part, the residents on that street have been following that. But we need to formalize that. And so with this resolution, we are required by law to post no parking signs temporary for 30 days, accept resident feedback, and then determine if it will become permanent. But you will authorize it to become permanent if we don't have any concerns that are raised. And because there's already a practice of not parking on the north side, and we simply need to put the signage there, we don't expect that. So do you have any questions on that?
No, I make a motion, we approve the no parking signs for fire lane on Wind. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
And may I have a second to dispense with the second reading?
Do I make a motion that we dispense with the second reading? I make a motion, we dispense with the second reading. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay. Then I make a motion, we approve the payment of bills, bank reconciliation, and financial reports. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay, and I make a motion for the signing of minutes and resolutions. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
And I make a motion, we adjourn. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Mr. Brokamp?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.